Ordinary people, extraordinary faith. They walked in faith before us, faced trials, doubts, and destiny. Their faith changed history and still speaks today. Welcome to Echoes of Faith, where faith echoes through time. Esther. The hidden hand of God. King Ahasuerus ruled over 127 provinces, a vast empire stretching from India to Ethiopia. In the third year of his reign, he hosted a magnificent feast, lasting 180 days, a display of his wealth and power. But wealth can intoxicate just as much as wine. For 7 days, the king and his nobles drank without restraint. Laughter turned to boastfulness, boastfulness to arrogance. Ahasuerus, drunk on wine and self-importance, sought to impress his guests. "My queen is the most beautiful in the land," he declared. 7 eunuchs were sent to bring Queen Vashti, but she refused. Did she feel disrespected, being summoned like an object? Was she emboldened by wine herself? Or was it divine intervention? Whatever the reason, her defiance set a fire in the king's heart. If the queen disobeys, won't all women do the same? His advisors warned. In his drunken wrath, Ahasuerus made a decree. Vashti would never come before him again. The law of the Medes and Persians could not be undone. When his anger subsided, it was too late. His advisors urged him to find a new queen. But was this merely human counsel, or was the unseen hand of God beginning to move? In Susa, a Jewish orphan named Hadassah, called Esther, lived with her cousin Mordecai. She was beautiful, but beauty alone does not open doors. God's favor does. When the king's decree gathered the young women of the empire, Esther was taken. Before she left, Mordecai told her, "Do not reveal that you are a Jew." Every day, Mordecai came to the palace gates, watching, waiting. He could not protect her, but he could pray. For a year, the young women underwent preparation, learning the ways of the palace. Yet Esther did not seek to impress with extravagance. She was humble and wise. The heart of the king was in God's hands, and he turned it toward her. Ahasuerus loved Esther above all others and placed the crown upon her head. Yet Esther carried a secret, her identity. Had God placed her here for a reason? Mordecai sat at the king's gate, not a place of power, but a place of waiting. One day, he overheard a plot against the king. He sent word through Esther. The conspirators were executed, but Mordecai was forgotten. Or was he? God's timing is never rushed. Mordecai did not seek reward. He simply did what was right. And God saw. Haman, the king's highest official, lived for power, for admiration. When he walked, men bowed. This fed his ego and made him feel invincible. But one man did not bow. Mordecai, a Jew. Haman's rage boiled. "One man defies me, then let all his people perish." He approached the king with deceitful words. "There is a people scattered throughout your kingdom. They do not follow your laws. It is not good for you to tolerate them." The king, blind to the implications, removed his signet ring, absolute authority, and gave it to Haman. A decree was sent. On a set day, every Jew would be exterminated. Haman celebrated, but God was not mocked. He who sets a trap will fall into it himself. Mordecai, like all the Jews, mourned. He tore his garments, fasted, and prayed. He sent word to Esther, "Go to the king, beg for mercy." Fear gripped her heart. Anyone who enters uninvited faces death, unless the king extends his golden scepter. He has not called me for 30 days. Would she risk her life? Mordecai's answer was piercing. "Do not think you will escape, because you are in the palace. If you remain silent, deliverance will come from elsewhere. But you and your father's house will perish. Perhaps you were placed here for such a time as this. A divine moment, a call to destiny. Esther made her choice. Fast for 3 days, then I will go to the king. If I perish, I perish. For 3 days she fasted, trembling in prayer. On the 3rd day she approached the throne. Would the king accept her? Would she die? But God had gone before her. The king extended his golden scepter. Grace. Ask what you wish, even half the kingdom. But Esther was wise. She did not ask immediately. Instead, she invited the king and Haman to a banquet. That night, Haman's pride soared. He dined with the king and queen. He felt untouchable. But Mordecai's presence still stung him. Build a gallows and hang him, his wife and friends advised. That very night, the king could not sleep. Coincidence or divine restlessness? He ordered the royal records to be read. There, he found the forgotten deed. Mordecai had saved his life. What honor was given to this man? None, my lord. At that moment, Haman entered, expecting honor. What should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Haman, blinded by pride, thought of himself. Royal robes, a king's horse, public recognition. Do so for Mordecai the Jew. Humiliation. And then, at Esther's banquet, the final blow came. My people have been sold to death. The enemy is this wicked Haman. The king, furious, stormed into the garden. Haman, trembling, threw himself before Esther to beg for mercy. At that moment, the king returned. Seeing Haman so close to the queen, his anger exploded. Will he assault the queen as well? Haman was taken and hanged on the very gallows he built for Mordecai. God had overturned the plans of the wicked. Esther pleaded again, "Save my people." A new decree was issued. The Jews were given the right to defend themselves, and when the day of battle came, they triumphed. Mordecai, once despised, was exalted to the king's right hand. Esther, once fearful, became a deliverer. Haman, once powerful, was erased from history. God's hand had been at work from the beginning.